Hi, happy day, and thank you for visiting my channel. If you're new here, my name is Miriam, and I am going to tell you some stuff that makes sense to you for some reason because you saw my face and you clicked on it, and the title made sense and all that for you to click on. If you already know me, then you already know me, and you know why you're here, and it's because I be saying stuff at the right times and stuff like that. Today specifically, I did something a little different where I went ahead and talked to my deck first and asked, what type of person am I reading for today? And 33 seconds right as I say this. And I shuffled, and two cards came out in reverse: the Oracle of Delphi and Archangel Gabriel. And so, what I know is that I am reading for somebody who really is not believing in their gift, or is feeling trapped, or like it's like you've been called, been given the message, you've been told yes, these are your blessings, but there's still something about you that's like scared to accept your gifts, and not just like from the universe, but like the things that you've had this whole time. Like perhaps you're a reader, perhaps you are somebody who is really good at math or something. I don't know. But you have a certain gift. And maybe that's because something has gotten in the way. But that's with Delphi, the Oracle of Delphi in reverse. This person has been told by the universe. They've been given the download. You've been given the download. And it's like, it's almost like you're exhausted. Like, you've been given so many downloads, but nobody's listening to you. So, why keep trying? And then we have Archangel Gabriel in reverse as well, which is about really having negative self talk, poor communication. And that might be something that is a part of you. Communication may have been hard for you a lot in life. Okay, I'm being called to tell a story. Oh, even like I keep going, like I have like my throat's bothering me. Okay, so I'm gonna share a bit of my testimony. Um, there was for a long time I really believed I was just destined to be misunderstood. I was actually born in the middle of Mercury retrograde. And because of so much miscommunication, I ended up being born in the front seat of a Cadillac driving down the highway in the middle of a blizzard. Um, it took me a long time, like up until recently, that I really know that I was born in Mercury retrograde. As I got older, a little bit older, I was probably like 5 or 6 or 7, and these were around the times that the abuses started happening to me in my life, by predators, often teenage predators. Not often, only they were all teenagers. Like they were teenagers and kids who did these things to me. Um, but one time in particular, I told my mom, "Hey, so and so is hitting me, my babysitter, and we'll just call her Vanessa." And I said, "Vanessa's hitting me." And so my mom thought that I meant that she was like spanking me, you know, kind of like the way that I asked, stop that. And so she told her, "Do not, you are not allowed." Mm-mm. And so she ended up leaving to work. And upon that, she got scolded by my mom, and she waited until my mom was really gone. And then she locked the door and she beat the living shit out of me. Like, had me pinned to the ground, punching me in the face and the body. So much so that that was the very first time, actually, that I discovered something new in myself. That after so many hits, I can make a decision. And I decided that the door was right there. And part of the pounding, even at this young age, I was thinking about what to do. So as she was still having her blows at me, I was thinking about how I would unlock the door and how I would open the door, and I would run out and I would run and I would scream for help and somebody would help me. And so I executed my plan and I got up and I ran outside and I screamed. And she was right behind me and nobody came right away. And so I kept running. And before you know it, I took a wrong turn and I wasn't wearing shoes. And so I was running down an alleyway of rocks and glass and dirt and all that. Thank goodness she also wasn't wearing shoes. Helped slow her down. And so I ran all the way the length of the block in the alleyway. And finally, I saw this white man. He was about to get in his truck and I said, "Please help me find my mom. She's beating me or she's hitting me or this something." I just said, "Help me." And he looked at me like, "Huh?" And then she came, the person we're calling Vanessa, came behind me and made up some excuse. He wasn't going to help me anyway. You know, looking at the situation, just some white man with just some little girl in the street. He was probably like no older than 19 or something. And off he went. And she held me by the shoulder or hand until she felt like she wasn't being watched. And then she grabbed me by my hair and led me into the house where she continued to beat me. And so some of the things that I took with myself was the belief that I was a poor communicator. And so all of my life, I would try to over-communicate. And so it got to the point where I really believed that I was a good communicator. And then I realized as I got older that, nope, still a shit communicator. I talk in spirals, I talk in stories and metaphors, and sometimes I lose the analogy along the way, and I'm still pretty confusing to a lot of people. But eventually, I was understood. Honestly, even in those moments, it was about really understanding myself. Because even though I didn't fully escape, even though I still got my ass beat, those were the first signs that I was an escapist. A master escapist, Houdini style. I really became a problem after that. The problem that you thought I was before, I really became a problem for her after that. And eventually, I say eventually, but soon after, it was the lack of words. It was the lack of my presence. One day when she was babysitting me and my mom came to pick me up and they didn't know where I was. I was safe. I was at the neighbor's house. But I wasn't following their rules anymore. She wasn't following rules. She wasn't listening to my mom. So I wasn't going to listen either. And so I was lost when my mom came to find me. Because even though my words couldn't figure it out, my actions could communicate. I was not safe. And so that was the day that all my stuff started to shift, you know. There were all these small things, but I would still hold on to me, this strange communication style. sometimes I'm trying to tell people this is what my idea is, and they just can't see it yet. And so what I have to do is show them. And a lot of times that means go and get alone with the one. Because here she has a scribe who helps interpret her and ground her because she's off the ground, you know. And the scribe's feet are on the ground. But even in this case, when Oracle of Delphi is in reverse, everybody's feet are no longer on the ground. There's an anchoring presence from your messages that you bring. And it's about the ebb and flow of the both. It's like the scribe's like, what is my purpose? What is my purpose if I'm not listening to the Oracle of Delphi and transcribing and translating and making sure? And so now the scribe has to go it alone as well and figure out, what is your purpose, scribe? Yeah, you had this job at this time, but not everything's about the Oracle of Delphi or the word of the messages that she's getting in to share. Sometimes you have to understand that even the scribe has the ability to have access to this information. You don't have to be in the background being the scribe all the time. You can get the downloads too, because even the scribe only has so much comprehension. Like the Oracle of Delphi is this conduit. It's like an aquifer of flow, and the Oracle of Delphi knows what it feels like to have the water flow through, while the scribe writes down what the shape of the aquifer is, or the speed of the water, or the color of it, or the sound of it, or both things are true at the same time. And so I think it's just, oh my gosh, it just feels like it is in you. Like I want to say that this is somebody else. Like, oh, you're having a communication issue with somebody else. But it's like, you're refusing to even talk to your guides. Like, some part of you is like, oh, I'm not getting any signs of synchronicities. That's not your case. It's like, you'll see them and you don't even get joy when you see them. You're just like, okay. Like, you don't care that you're the chosen one. If anything, you just kind of want to be left alone. But it's 1 and 3. It's 3 and 1. It's 4. This is your assignment, and they are gonna, like, they also don't give a fuck if you do your mission or not. Like, they don't. Like, they want you to, but, like, it is you specifically who gets to be rewarded by this. But 4 together is also, like, this is, like, triple saying you would be talking mad shit on yourself. You're really mean to yourself. And even whenever, like, you'll even say, I'm so mean to myself. And then you bully yourself that way too. And you're like, well, now I'm a bully. Right? Like, you just don't ever, like, you, like, even if somebody's on the internet calling you a bully to yourself, you're like, yeah, I am a bully. But you know what? She's been through a lot, or he's been through a lot. They've been through a lot. Like, when are you going to go up to the bully in yourself and say, hey, man, do you want to share a peanut butter sandwich? The amount of times that I had people in my life, and this is the thing, even with my abuser that we're calling Vanessa, we had lots of fun times together too, because I'd make her laugh. There were lots of times that I was good at winning people over. And in fact, even now, it's a bit of my, like, own trauma issues. Like, I still love to win over crotchety people. Crotchety people are my favorite people because I'm going to get you to like me. And you're going to hate it every step of the way. And you're going to laugh. And you're going to be like, you want to be Kanye? Catching me smile. Shut the fuck up type shit. But now I'm grown, so if they want to swing on me, I know I can swing back. And I know to this day, if so-called Vanessa came around, I beat her motherfucking ass. But as a child who was much smaller than her, she was such a daunting creature. And honestly, the things that she did to me and the things that the other kids did to me and other teenagers did to me, honestly, there was so much of the world exposed to me. And I'm saying about me because I feel like this is true for you. So I think you were just exposed to a lot of the darkness in the world at such an early age. And that darkness has casted a really large shadow on you because it was a big shadow. It was the big dark. It wasn't like there are some things that are technically big dark for people, you know? Like, trauma 100% is the worst thing that's ever happened to you. No matter what that worst thing is. If the worst thing is that you got a paper cut right between here, like, that is still your trauma. Like, that's that person's trauma and it's valid. And then there are some people's trauma that is so bad that when they hear it told, that it almost, you see people look at you differently after they know the truth. In a way that you can tell that their stomach is churning. It's like everybody knows that these very insidious parts of the world exist. But sometimes when you're interacting with somebody who's been in those rooms of insidiousness, it leaves a lingering feeling in the person hearing about it. And if somebody has experienced those things, or even hasn't experienced those things, whatever, if they have experienced it, some people are able to hear about it still because they've gone to those places. Some people can't hear of it because they've gone to those places. But because you've seen people change whenever you've talked about your stories, and I say my stuff vaguely enough because I'm not really here to do that same icky feeling, but I know what I've said has already made people feel quite icky because the layers of trauma that was happening was just a lot of it. It was just a lot of it at once. And it was like I really had like a rough 9 months of my life during childhood, where that very intense trauma happened. Then I had another rough months of life, but that's up whenever I was dealing with my pregnancy. Because my daughter was born different. So even now she has a trach. Whenever she was 2 months old, they placed a trach and a G button so she could eat and breathe. And a lot of people are like, oh, poor baby. There's nothing poor about my baby. But I almost wasn't necessarily surprised that I had a child who was going to be born different because I don't know, that stuff like that just never really got a negative reaction out of me. And I feel like you're someone who's like that, who's like just able to see like everybody for who they are, like not just like for their ability or disability. Like, you don't really care who a person is. Like, Like, you're not giving these people these accolades or kowtowing or anything like that. If anything, like, I don't know, you're just like, you're somebody who's really genuine, is what I'm getting. Like, just like, if you see somebody who looks different, it's just like, okay, hello, how are you? Moving on. Like, you just have a conversation with them as opposed to, hey, beautiful, sweet baby angel. Now, let me give you something. Like, the amount of times my kid has gotten stuff for free because she looks different or because people are feeling bad because they're so curious. Um, like, I give my, wait, like, anytime my kid is out and her grandparents, the rule is if somebody is staring at you in a rude way, she's allowed to give them the middle finger if she wants. She hasn't used it, but she's happy to know that she can. That was a lot of work. That was a lot of like releasing control. Because at my 20-week ultrasound, I realized I had no control over this pregnancy, over this child, over anything. And I just prayed and I cried and I asked why my baby? Because they were telling me like, hey, her heart is just gonna explode. They were just telling me all these things and I was like, why my baby? Why my baby? And all I prayed is for, like what did I wanted to know what I did in the past. Like karmically. Because almost everything that they were saying was telling me that I was not going to be able to keep my child. They were even recommending that I go up to Oklahoma to have a late term ending of my pregnancy. And everything in me was like, what? No, like, you're telling me, like, if I could get through the pregnancy, then I could, and she's able to survive the birth, then I can have my baby? Like, so many parents don't even get that chance or that opportunity. So many people are carrying their children and then they go to the appointment and then there's just a transition has happened. Some people make the decision to go to Oklahoma. And those are those lives. Like that's their life. But I don't know. I felt I was chosen, and I still do. Chosen to have such an awesome kid who really influences people. She sure as hell influenced me. The scribe at the bottom of the deck. The lookout in reverse. 17. What I will say is that although I do believe that the soul decides what it wants to learn on this planet, I do not believe the soul decides how it is going to learn those things. A big part of me believes that I experienced the things that I did so then I can help turn over those rocks. Because part of that escaping, part of that running away, part of that defiance came from the fact is that at one point I was under a rock with all the grubs and beetles. And one day I started to run and towards the edge of the world. And when I got to the edge, just kept going into grass and sunlight. And so I knew just one day somebody would just have to turn over the rock and they'd be able to see all the night crawlers underneath them. But then somehow I evolved into a human one day. And now I know to turn over those rocks so I can eat those night crawlers. Timon and Pumbaa style. The lookout may seem to have fallen and lost his position, but he is now free from the heat of battle. You may find yourself in the throes of a sudden and difficult loss, perhaps a job, a relationship, or a major creative opportunity. As painful and challenging as it might seem, it is truly a gift in disguise. This loss actually takes you. Loss actually takes you out of a conflict and sets you free to reach for a higher opportunity. You don't have to be on the defensive any longer. You're on your way to a larger than life life. You're on your way to a larger than life life. So in upright, the lookout, the one who's standing here, is on a flaming boat because they are in the midst of battle. Lookout came out in reverse, which means lookout falls out up into, honestly, the sky. You're falling into the sky. Look out. You're falling into the sky. And maybe that's part of it. Maybe you're just like, it's like you can sense how big. It's like, what? Shut up. Sorry. I'm not trying to be rude to your guides or my guides, anybody. I'm not trying to be rude to the records. Okay, so I'll say this. I guess you're famous. I guess you're famous. I'm feeling very feminine energy. And not, again, you do not like you do not have to be a female to have feminine energy, but you like create with your kundalini, with your root chakra, like like even if you are a guy, like you might be a little bit more I don't know, like not afraid to be called gay because you're like I know I be hitting it, you know, like for like you know your situation type thing, but yeah, so the word famous has the word fae in it. A fae miss. A miss who is fae, like a fae woman. You also like legitimately may be famous. Like, I don't know. Oh, the other day, um, the other day I had a dream that I was reading for Keke Palmer. Because I know why, one, because I had commented on one of her things saying, "Hey, I'd love to work for you one day, or with you one day," but also, soon thereafter I did a reading and like all of the cards pretty much were keys, key, and I was telling my mom about it. I was like key and key and key in the dream, and then and I was like, oh, Kiki. But honestly, you might look up to Keke Palmer a lot. You know, maybe you watch her like so recently. So on Baby, this is Keke Palmer. She has a online podcast. So just in case you haven't seen her podcast, a lot of times, you know, she'll have people on there and whatnot. But especially with this newer season, she's been really leaning into her bag. You know, like Kiki is not. I mean, everybody knows Kiki is an amazing soul and human and earth angel. But she's she really is always thinking on a divine plane as well. Like even in that case. So it's like, I don't know, maybe you relate to her quite a bit. Maybe you do. Maybe you watched her show. What was it called? True Jackson VP. You know what? I should go rewatch that one day. Because I remember really just being so happy to see another black girl. Because before it was Raven. And then we had, like, there's always been, like, one black girl around. It was Raven, it was Kiki, then Zendaya. And it's always funny. Because, like, people will be like, oh, you look like just like Raven. Oh, you look like just like Zendaya to me. And I'm like, you don't look at people's features at all, do you? You just looking at skin tone. Bottom of the deck, the Akashic Library, by the way. Top of the deck, 5 of Keys. I cannot make this up. I mean, I wish I could. Because I don't, because it would be take writing. A 5 of Keys, wishes fulfilled. Like, you're scared of it? Oh, okay, because 5. Okay, because 5. Okay, so this is new for you. Like, you keep waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I say this all the time, but, like, you waiting for the other shoe to drop, like, that's a bad thing. That just means you walking forward, ho. One foot in front of the other. Unless you barefoot. Even then, one foot after the other. Just put it down. Step. Get to stepping and expanding. But, so personally, I'm in a 5-year. I do not like, I mean, I don't mind driving places. But for the most part, I like being in my house. I don't want to go outside. But last year was my 4 year. So I was like doing the work ahead of me. So it just turns out the work that was put ahead of me was to be doing the work that I'm doing now. That is me driving all around the state and sometimes out of state just to do the things that I love. Because people want to pay me to do that. Like, people are paying me to be me. So I'm traveling because it's my 5 year of travel. They're like, oh yeah, can you go out of the country actually? No, I ain't got a passport. But now, another thing asks, you want to go out of the country? I don't have a passport. Well, eventually, you're going to have to get a passport. You're going to have to pay that $120 or whatever it is, $220, I don't know. You're going to have to pay over $100. You're going to get your passport, and you're going to wait 6 months. And then, after you get approved. And that's if you get approved. Like, you don't even know if you'll get approved. That's a non-refundable fee. I mean, you know if you got stuff on your record. But I don't know, my name's pretty weird. So. But I'm reluctant to 5. I don't like 5ing. And a lot of times, too, I love the 4, work hard, grind. Because, like, God forbid I get anything easy, right? Why aren't you allowed to have anything easy? Like, what if, like, they keep trying to give you an easy way and you just keep trying to make it difficult? Karmic Trench. That's what I'm feeling. Reflection is the next card. Karmic Trench is about a man. He's digging his trenches himself. And he is doing it by hand with a shovel. Or he's doing it with a shovel. Meanwhile, in the background, he's got a horse and a plow just sitting there. The horse is just grazing. The plow is just sitting there. He's on the 4th row of this long trench because he's a farmer. It's like, but he's choosing to do it by hand instead of using the plow. Some people like to do it the hard way. But a lot of times it's because they do not believe that they deserve it the easy way. And like, even the gift that you have, it's almost like, yeah, but I was born with it. I didn't even have to work hard and train for it. Like, how much Naruto did you watch? Like, how much of those animes were you to say, oh my God, believe it? Like, okay. Oh no, you're not allowed to earn anything until you have those Rock Lee straps on your ankles so hard. And so then once they're off, then they're super light, but you've been working all this time. Like, it's just like, you refuse to win the lottery because that'll just be too fast, and you just feel like you won't be able to handle the money. You think you're going to let yourself down. It's a lot of negative self-talk. And it's like the only reason why I'm really able to recognize it is because I've been there before. Like, I'm not even, like, I wish I could judge you. I mean, I am going to judge you. I'm like, somebody's got to be the judge. And the judge is like, and the ruling is that stop it, quit it. Your punishment is today you have to be nice to yourself and do something fun for your inner child, even if it's staying at home. Like, if, like, call in hooky for work or something, and then stay home and take a mustard bath or whatever. Go on YouTube. You can put on Saturday morning cartoons that you used to watch. Sometimes there was this one song that I like to listen to. And whenever I was living in that, we'll just call her Vanessa, in her house, um, I would listen to "Follow Me and Everything Is Alright. I'll be the one to tuck you in at night. But if you follow me, I will guarantee you won't find nobody else like me." And so sometimes whenever I hear that song or sing that song, like, it's just such a strange feeling of joy and nostalgia and sadness. And nostalgia honestly has a lot of sadness in it too. Like, it's joyful, but it's sad at the same time. But even back then, I was just able to find really joyful things in music and certain shows to escape. Powerpuff Girls. Eventually, as I got older, Fairly Odd Parents came out. And it was so funny because, like, the name of the babysitter was Vicky. Another V name. And so I would think about if I had fairy odd parents, if I had fairy godparents back then, how things would have been different. Or if I had superpowers like the Powerpuff Girls, how things would have been different. But I wasn't a Powerpuff Girl. And as far as I knew, I wasn't really looking for any pink and green. But what was around for me were numbers. I would do the number counting. But if I didn't choose to have my head looking up, as opposed to just down at my feet, or to focus on whatever other thing, if I didn't choose to try and escape with my mind in those moments, then I may not have been able to make it through. These were all survival skills. These were all coping mechanisms. But also, there were these things instilled in me that I wasn't, like, allowed to have good things. Yeah. Um, Vanessa's stepmom, her name was Candy. And I stayed there with him for a little bit after my mom had gotten evicted from an apartment complex. And the reason why she got evicted is because me and my older stepbrother, and I think my little brother might have been around too, decided to break into cars. It was his idea, but I was always willing to tag along. And I remember we were in a car and stuff, and I stole peppermint candy because I loved eating. I loved sweets, and so I stole candy from a car. And for the longest time, I thought I got sent to Candy's house as a punishment for stealing candy. And so I believed that all the bad things that were happening to me by the hands that Vanessa were my penance for being a thief. And so I took my penance and my prison sentence as a child. And I did the prison workouts, which were wall sits. I didn't do it on my own accord. That was just part of her torture devices, were wall sits and grains of rice below my knees as I sat on my knees with the books up, and chasing me around the house with sharp objects and other bad stuff, Epstein style. I mean, no cannibalism. So I definitely could have ended up on the news. So sometimes I really was wondering how much of the fairy godparents were around, and I just wasn't willing to ask for a wish, because in those stories it always turns out being bad. So I save my wishes. I'm very mindful of my wishes, and I'm detailed with my wishes to make sure that once they are fulfilled, I'm not stuck with 100 deer or 1,000,000 deer, which I could make that into an industry if I wanted to, but sounds like a lot of work. Anyway, guys, much love.